it's Laynie and welcome to my channel. Acid reflux. One of the greatest joys of pregnancy. Anyways, that is not at all what today's video is about. If you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, oh my goodness, thank you so much. I have some goals, you guys. Some hardcore goals by the end of this year, which is approaching quickly. Oh my goodness. So if you want to hear about what makeup I am trying to use up by the end of the year and my go-to plan to do so, then just keep watching. For reals though, you guys, I don't know about you, but this year is flying by. I thought time was only supposed to go fast when you're having fun. And I don't know about you, but I personally do not feel like 2020 has been a lot of fun. There have been many important lessons learned. There has been some growth, some regression, a couple extra pounds, a baby was made, but I don't know if I would put 2020 in the overall fun category. It's been kind of a struggle, at least up in this household. But anyway, yes, the year is flying by, which is really shocking because I honestly kind of thought with us staying home more, doing less, you know, that the year would kind of slow down a little bit. Maybe time would cut us a break. But time just doesn't work that way. So this year is flying by and I have some serious goals I'm trying to hit before the end of the year. If you're not new here, you know I have been trying to use up some product. I've really been focusing on not buying. I have really slowed my roll on buying. I even recently canceled my BoxyCharm, which says a lot. That really means that I am like ready to dwindle down this collection a little bit. If I have purchased any makeup over the last year, I put it in my backup stash and I don't touch it until I use something else up. So my major goal by the end of the year is to use up the rest of the foundations I have opened. This is not easy because I have a serious problem with foundation. This was more in the past, I bought way too much makeup because I felt like I needed to compete and review and do all that YouTube stuff. And I've just realized, guess what? It's not gonna work for my channel. I can't compete with the big YouTubers who get everything sent to them, and it's not good for my wallet. So I have come to terms with that is not how I'm going to be growing this channel. But I did buy a lot of foundation, especially last year, 2019, and I really need to use these up. For one, I'm just going to say, disclaimer, these products are technically expired. You know, I've admitted it before, I will push the limits on expiration dates, especially on powder products, because I can sanitize them, and I do sanitize them. But foundations, there's really no good way to sanitize them. But then also part of me is just like, oh my gosh, I cannot not use these because I spent money on them, and you know, that just hurts when you just throw away product that you spent your own money on. So, this is my game plan. I am switching a foundation every week until the end of the year. That is how I am going to make this work. I'm using every foundation I currently have opened in my collection for 1 week straight, and then it's going. Is this still wasteful? Yes. Am I using these products up fully? Heck no, there's no way in a week's time. But I feel like I can rest a little bit easier at night knowing that I at least put them on. I know what the product works like. I know if I liked the product and whether or not I would ever want to repurchase the product. So I feel like for what I'm working with here, for the problem I created for myself with overbuying, this is the best solution I have. So I do want to show you the foundations I've already used and the one I'm currently using. And then I want to show you the ones I still have to use up by the end of the year. I needed to be better about really diving into, like, that was part of my goal. I was like, I'm going to dive into these. I'm going to film all these videos. But my headspace and my energy levels just have not been right, and I have been slacking on the filming. I really have. I will be the first to admit it. My creativity with pregnancy has just gone plummeted, and I just haven't had it in me to do my due diligence, which does make me sad. But again, I'm trying to cut myself some slack here. It's been a weird year, you know. So I do still want to talk to you about the products I have used and what I still need to use up. Oh, who is it? Work. Okay, anyways, so the one I am currently using right now, this was a total TJ Maxx find. I am a sucker for deals, and I've got a hair in my eye. I am a sucker for a good deal. I'm a sucker for TJ Maxx. That's why I'm trying to avoid going there. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Foundation, their stick foundation in the shade Banana. It is a very good match to me, actually. I'm very happy with this shade. It's a really, really good match. I am terrible at matching my foundations to me. I'm just terrible at it. Like, you would think after all these years of playing with all these different foundations and buying all these different foundations, I would be like an expert. Heck no, a struggle every time. I think I got this for like, I want to say like $9, maybe $11. I was super excited to find it because I don't really know much about Anastasia products. I do believe this has been discontinued since, but it is the one I am wearing today, and honestly, I really do like this foundation. I actually really like stick foundations. The more I use them, the more I kind of like them. I like the ease of application, I like the ease of storage, and I can even kind of sanitize them by spritzing them with alcohol, or I can remove the top layer. Like, I don't know, there's just something about it that's kind of nice. And they're just so slim, they don't take up a lot of room. My one complaint with this formula is it's a bit tuggy, it's a bit dry. My skin usually leans more oily, but I actually feel like with being pregnant, my skin has actually, the oil is really decreased unless it's a super hot day. But even then, I'm not nearly as oily as I used to be. So this one can be a bit tuggy, and it can look a little dry on even my skin, but with a little bit of a hydrating setting spray, it actually looks really beautiful. It's what I'm wearing today. I'm really happy with it. It goes over my pores really well. I have very large pores. I do have texture from previous acne scarring from when I was younger, so I just feel like it sits really well over those struggle areas. Even though it's a little tuggy, it blends out pretty easily. You do have to work it a little bit into the skin because, again, it is a little bit of a drier formula, but honestly, I have really, really enjoyed this. The next one I have recently used for a week was the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow. And at first I was very concerned because I put this on and then the next day my skin broke out. And I was like, oh no, did this make my skin break out? But I honestly think it was just kind of a fluke. Probably some hormonal stuff, because I wore it again. I was like, I'm gonna give it one more shot, we'll see, and it didn't break me out. So I don't think it was this. There's something about me that loves this and hates this all at the same time. I love how it feels on the skin, I love the finish of it, but I just don't think it works for my skin. Can I wear it and get away with it? Yes, it doesn't look terrible or anything. It's more that it just doesn't do the most for my skin. It kind of sits weird on my pores. It kind of emphasizes them. It doesn't really have any smoothing effect. If you have very smooth skin and small pores naturally, I think you'll love this. It's a very natural looking foundation. It's very light on the skin. It doesn't feel heavy. The finish is very pretty. It looks very pretty, but I just don't think it works with the amount of texture I have on my skin. Part of me wants to dive into it again down the road because I do like the finish and I like how it feels. But I just think I'm going to have to tell myself no, because it just, your girl needs some smoothing, okay? Like, I feel better when my skin looks smoother, and this just doesn't do it for me. Foundation I really love that you don't see many places. I got this at O'Reilly Rose in Chicago when we were there 2 Christmases ago, so this one is a little old, okay. Okay, yeah, it's pretty old. This is the Dermacol, and I know this was all the rage for a while on YouTube, so of course that is why I bought it. I actually really like this. I feel like it does a decent job of smoothing my skin. I think the Anastasia smooths it better, but with a good primer, I do feel like this does a good job of smoothing over some of those areas that I want. The coverage is insane, but the finish is very pretty. It's not quite dewy, but it's not matte. Maybe I'd put it in kind of a satin category. It looks really pretty, and like I said, the coverage is insane. I didn't do the best with my color match on this. This is in the shade 210, I think. I actually am not 100% sure. I believe this is from another country. I don't think this originated out of the United States, and it's just the coverage. I don't know, there's just something about this, and it feels really creamy at the same time. I like this foundation. I don't know how to really wrap this one up into a cohesive statement, but I do really like this one, and it actually wasn't super expensive. If I could find this again, I think I would pick a different shade and give it another try, because I did really enjoy using this one. Like, I was sad when that week was up, and I was like, dang, I have to put it away, because I did truly enjoy this one. A foundation that I think is insane and so affordable. If you are on a budget, please, 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 please try this foundation. I think it is wonderful. This is the Believe Beauty line from Dollar General of all places. I think it's like $5 and it says it's a skin finish foundation, and I couldn't agree more. It looks very, very, very skin-like, and I feel like it does a pretty darn good job of smoothing my skin out. Now again, I usually go in with some type of smoothing primer before all my foundations, and that does help. But I really enjoyed this. I would definitely repurchase for $5. You can't beat it. I'm pretty darn happy with my color match on this one. I picked up the shade Nude. Even the packaging, it's glass, it's a pump. Like, this does not seem like a $5 foundation. This is incredible to me. $5. $5 from the Dollar Tree, which is so accessible to so many people because I'm from small town USA, so I know there are Dollar Generals in most small towns. So even if you don't live in a bigger city or a bigger area or closer to big shopping centers, you can still have access to this, which I absolutely love. It says medium to full coverage. I do believe it to be buildable, but I don't even need to build it. I'm very happy with one layer where it puts me on coverage. Seriously, so skin-like and really, really incredible for $5. I just can't get over it. A foundation I love and I would definitely consider repurchasing is the Catrice HD Liquid Coverage Mattifying Second Skin Effect. So it is mattifying, but it really is skin-like. It's not a flat matte, it's not a dull matte, it's not a boring matte. Even if you had more dry skin, I think you could still use this. I love the glass packaging, I love the dropper. Again, I was pretty happy with my color match on this one. I don't know if I would put it in the exact category, but I definitely feel like it's a better color match than I've done in the past, and this is in the shade Light Beige. Now, my skin does change throughout the year depending on if it's summer, fall, winter, you know, all of that, so sometimes that makes color matching tricky too, but I was using this when I still had just like a little tiny bit more sun from the summertime, and it worked really, really well. I've heard so many people rave about this on YouTube, and I actually feel like it's one of those that actually deserves it. And again, Catrice Drugstore, you can't beat the price. I've heard this compared to the Fenty foundation, and I'm going to disagree with that only because I have used the Fenty foundation as a sample, and it was like matte. And that was when I had more oily skin, and it was too matte for me. I mean, it was matte. I like a little bit more of a skin effect on with my foundation, even, you know, leaning oily. And this has just a beautiful finish, a beautiful coverage. It's very liquidy, hence the dropper. So it just feels so comfortable and light on the skin. I really recommend this to you guys. Those are the foundations I've really been diving into because I honestly just came up with this idea 5 weeks ago because I am like, I have to use these up. I cannot keep these any longer. They are expired. I have to start using this stuff I have in storage. Like, this is getting ridiculous. So now let's talk about the products I have to dive into. And these will be in no particular order. I just, whatever that Monday comes around, I'm like, oh, you know what? I think this one seems good for this week. I do think this next one I'm going to save until a little bit farther into winter because this is definitely one of my more dewy foundations. If you have dry skin, please try this one. I think it is so stunningly beautiful. It's definitely dewy. But I love it. Even though I probably shouldn't reach for products like this, I really, really love this one. I got the shade F2. This is the Makeup Revolution. This is their original foundation stick. I hope they still make it. Their fast-based stick foundation. The formula is so creamy and dreamy. I'm very happy with the color match on this. It's probably a little bit more like right now fall winter skin for me, but I'm very happy with this color match. It is just so creamy. I mean, just the way it goes on, super duper creamy, blends out super creamy. It looks just rich and creamy and dewy on the skin. If you have dry skin, I think you will love this. And again, affordable, you can't beat the price. I would actually really consider buying this again, especially for winter time, because I definitely dry up a bit in the winter because it just gets so dry here in the Midwest. There's not an ounce of moisture left in the air. So I can get away with this in the winter time. It would never work for me in the summer, but for those dry months, or if you have dry skin, it's perfect, it's beautiful, it's affordable. I love this foundation, and I'm actually really looking forward to the week I get to use it. I also have here the Colourpop No Filter Stick Foundation in Fair 05W. I know I did a review on this. This is definitely like light. This would be like ultralight winter. This is like, I'm gonna need to apply some bronzer. With this one, I went a little light on my color match. I don't remember my thoughts on this. That's how long it's been since I've reached for this product. This is the issue when you have way too much foundation. You forget what products you really love or which ones you really are dying to use because you just have too many options. So I'm trying to not do that in the future. A foundation I really love and I would recommend to you guys, if you like the Hourglass foundation stick, I feel like this is a decent dupe. Obviously it's not quite Hourglass because Hourglass is very luxe, it's very expensive, and there's just kind of something special about the formula of that stick foundation in my opinion. Even though it doesn't look the best on my skin personally, again with the large pores, there's just something about the formula that you just kind of look past the parts you don't like because it just feels so rich and so luxe on when you apply it and when it blends out. There's just something about that foundation when it comes to high-end foundation that is like one that I'm just like, oh, you're so special. This is the closest I have found to that for an affordable dupe. This is in the shade Beechwood, which again is a pretty darn good color match to me. Maybe when I'm just like barely a little bit darker than now, but I feel like I can get away with this still. You know, that's how my color matching goes. I'm like, can I get away with it? So this is a color match I think I can get away with. There's something about this formula that just reminds me of the Hourglass. Maybe not on direct application with how creamy and dreamy Hourglass is, but on how this buffs out, on the coverage, on how it wears on the skin. I actually think this one looks better on my skin over time than the Hourglass, which is really saying something. This one I think does a little bit better job of filling in my pores and kind of hiding those trouble areas. I would definitely consider repurchasing this because I have really enjoyed this formula. This is actually my second one. I bought a summer shade and a winter shade because I liked it that much. I don't actually even know how many weeks are exactly left in the year, so I hope no one does the math and is like, hello dummy. This math isn't going to line up. It's going to be somewhere close. It might not be exactly the end of the year. It might be a little before, a little after. It's going to be close. Then the next foundation I need to use up is the Infallible 24-hour, what is this called? Fresh Wear. There we go. This is in the shade 405, I think. 405? Yes, 405 Porcelain. I think it's a decent color match. It's been a really long time again since I've reached for this. I don't fully remember much about it, but I do remember really liking this, so I'm excited to dive into it again. It's definitely one that's supposed to be a little bit more skin-like, a little bit more of a breathable wear, which I've really been loving. I still do like a good full glam, but I don't really reach for those heavy, crazy, like thick, whoa coverage foundations anymore. Even if it's giving me the coverage, I want it to be a little bit more skin-like. Maybe that's something that comes with age because I feel like I see a lot of people who are around my age on YouTube talking about that. It's just like, I can't do like the Glossier skin, like sorry, can't do that, doesn't work for me. But can I get just like a little bit of a skin finish in there? Then I'm happy. So I do remember this being kind of a skin-like finish. I'm very excited to dive back in. It does look maybe just a little light for me right now, like just a little bit, but I think I can make it work. So yes, if you have any thoughts on this one, leave it down below. One I've never even used, which makes me sad that I'm going to use it for 1 week because it'll be literally used for 1 week and then it's going, which is so sad. But again, I got this in 2019. I don't even think I've worn this. I literally think I just swatched it. This is the LA Girl Pro Matte High Definition in the shade Bisque. Can't give you a single thought on this one because, like I said, I think I've literally only swatched this, or if I've actually worn it, I don't remember anything about it at all. I'm excited to dive into it. LA Girl is super affordable. I'm always looking for those affordable foundations that I love. I'm just not going to keep so many of them on hand. And then a foundation that I do remember trying, I think once, maybe twice, 3 times max, is the Juvia's Place I Am Magic Velvety Matte Foundation in the shade Bali. It looks like actually a decent color match. This is another one that I am feeling, man, these little flyaways, get out of here. This is another one I'm feeling extremely wasteful and kind of sad about because I've barely used it. And I don't remember it being a super cheap. I think it's kind of around the $20 mark, so it's not like totally drugstore, but it's not high-end either, so at least it didn't break the bank. But I literally hate feeling wasteful, you guys. Like, seriously, it just like gives you that pit in your stomach. That's how I feel about not using these more. please listen to me and don't overbuy. It's not worth it. I remember not being super thrilled with this foundation. Now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like I wasn't in love with this foundation. I remember it being really high coverage, but is this the one that Nikki Tutorials raves about? She loves that full coverage though, and she has like the world's smoothest skin, so you know, that's like comparing apples and oranges here. I remember not being in love with this one. I am excited to dive into it again so I can really test out what I think, but I remember not being in love with it. The two last little guys on my list here, if I don't get to these, it's not going to be the end of the world, because I actually bought these back before I really knew a bunch about like mixing foundations. I mean like the drops you actually buy to change the color of your foundation. Because like I said, color matching for me is a real struggle, so I was finding so many of my foundations would only work for me in winter or only in summer or maybe never. I was like, I'm going to buy a light one and a darker one and I'm going to make my own creation, and then I like never did anything with these. But I do remember really liking the formula of this. This is the NYX Total Control Drop Foundation. It's one of those that is very high coverage but very, very liquidy, and I actually do kind of like that. Again, I just like the way those feel on the skin. I love that I'm getting the coverage, but it's not feeling heavy, it's not feeling cakey, it doesn't look cakey. But the fun thing is neither one of these quite match me, so my plan is to like for a week. Oh, as I almost break them, let's not do that. Mixing these together to make my custom color, and I am excited to give these a real go because I think I've only worn them together like one time, and that is my plan to get through these products for a fresh start in 2021. I really want to be in a good place with my collection. I feel like I'm getting there. The only areas I'm not really making headway on are highlighters and eyeshadows and blush, but I'm not buying more. Like that's the thing, I'm not buying more, and now that I don't have BoxyCharm, I won't be accumulating more. I'm definitely going to be diving into more Shop My Stash next year, more maybe not project pants, but something kind of similar, you know, just really diving into declutters. And then I do have my backup makeup stash of things I've slowly purchased over this year that I'm going to filter in. If you guys want to see me dive into my backup makeup stash, then just let me know. I'd be happy to share that with you. And yeah, that is everything for today. Let me know what your makeup goals are for the end of this year and the start of 2021, because we are quickly approaching a new year. Oh my goodness. I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'm hopeful. I don't want to speak too soon because I was real hopeful about 2020. I was like, oh, I'm feeling good about it. So I don't want to speak too soon, but I'm feeling good about 2021, at least with where my makeup collection will be. And I don't know why I keep banging on my desk. I'm sorry. I talk with my hands. So anyways, yes, let me know your goals. That is everything for this video. If you haven't clicked the subscribe button, go ahead and click the subscribe button, join the Lash Fam, you will not regret it. And as always, please try to stay positive, because at the end of the day, that is truly all we can try to do. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.